In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and Christy Holly has the day off. Today is her birthday, so we're going to wish her.
Happy birthday to you.
And that is my lovely co-host, moonlighting or on loan from Military Mom Talk Radio, which is our Monday show, which is our sister show that airs Mondays at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So if you can't get enough of me on Mondays or Tuesdays, you can have me for both days. And this week we get Robin for both days. How exciting is that?
Hi, Sandra. Thanks for inviting me. This is awesome.
Well, I'm so glad that you could be with us today because we have such a great show. And, you know, Robin, it's so much fun to talk about people who make a difference and people who have a passion to overcome just unbelievable odds. And it's just always amazing to me how many great stories there are out there.
There are, and it is so unfortunate that the media only focuses, and I'm generalizing here, but there's always the hubbub of the media focusing on all the negative, all the bad, all the crimes, all the fake politics, I guess you could say. So much of the negative stuff that we really need to have more of what they categorize as human interest stories. And unfortunately, those are the ones that get shoved to the end of the broadcast and just fitted in only if there's time. But these are the ones that should be the lead stories. Some of these remarkable people who have, in fact, made such differences and who are empowering and who are bringing us a new direction and a new way of looking at life.
I agree. You know, and as a former newspaper reporter, you know, I used to always, you know, they really didn't give me any hard-hitting news because, well, I was me. And I would go and cover, you know, dog, cat stories, weather stories. However, I did cover a story one time in Michigan where it didn't get over 0 degrees for, like, 16 days, something like that. And
oh, my.
They sent me out to write this story about everything goes slower at 40 below.
Oh.
And because, you know, you don't realize it's 40 to below zero out and everybody's in their house going, wow, it's really cold outside. But there are, you know, people out there fixing street lamps that have broken.
Sure.
There are people that are fixing water main breaks. And I remember visiting with some guys that were fixing this water main break, and it was 40 below. The wind chill was 40-something below, and it was probably, 20 below, just at freezing, you know, just at ambient temperature. And I remember watching them get in their truck, warm up, go out, work in the water for a little bit. And they did this in shifts. And I think of our military, and I think of all the service people,
right,
the firemen, the police, you know, that don't stop when it's, you know, when it's 40 below. And, you know, there's just a lot of unsung heroes. And you're right, because when I was a journalist, they trained us to look for the story that would sell newspapers because that's what it was all about.
And my goodness, if there was a beautiful story on a front cover, I think I'd pick it up a lot more quickly than if I'm picking up something that's talking about the crime rates or whatever. I have to ask you this. Do you think that you were given those kinds of stories because you were a woman?
A blonde woman with big boobs? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was reading on
that and I
iVillage.
grew up on a cop, but that's a whole other story. On my first fatal.
I was reading on iVillage today about statistics that women are still not as prevalent as men in the science and technology fields, that even though there are more women graduating from college, there are still less women who are filling those jobs in science and technology. And the statistic that they quoted from a U.S. Department of Commerce report was something like 25% of the science and technology fields are employed by women.
See, I'm surprised it's even that high, Robin. You know, running a technology company for 15 years and very, very high-tech what we do, and requires a lot of sometimes math and programming skills and really good analytical skills. And I'm actually surprised it's 25%. I really don't see that. I think that's a high estimate. You know, and it also, of course, you know, matters like how we classify science and technology. But honestly, when I go to these speaking engagements or I show up places for technology meetings, a lot of times I'm one of the only female there, and I'm one of the only females, you know, in a skirt. Yeah, yeah.
It does still give our young people a challenge, and I think that someone like our guest today, who is talking about beating the odds or coming up from difficult situations, this is what young people need to see nowadays. In fact, this particular article I was reading from iVillage was talking about a women's leadership school, which is in New York City, in the Queens district of New York City, talking about this being an all-girls school. And it is statistically shown that girls will achieve more strongly, I guess you could say, when they are not in a learning environment with boys, that they are really finding that this just isn't an elitist kind of a thing in going to an all-girls school because it's an all-girls school. It is, in fact, stating in this particular article that their studies are revealing that girls will not put themselves out there if there are boys in the classroom.
Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yep. I mean, I look at myself, Rob, and I'm sure you can look at yourself and look at your daughter, too, at times, you know, where you're, you know, a girl doesn't want to be taller than a guy. She doesn't want to be stronger or faster and smarter. I got to tell you, that's like punching them, you know, like I like to punch men in the wallet, but, you know, it punches men in a certain place when you're brighter than they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, I see it sometimes with some of the tech women that work for me. These are some of the brightest women in the country, and, you know, they're just technological mavens, and they go into these environments, and there's still a lot of old school when it comes to courtship and love and marriage and relationships and boyfriend-girlfriend that, you know, a lot of guys have a hard time with a smart girl or a girl in a leadership position.
Yeah, yeah. It's just interesting, and it's it gives us pause to try to say, all right, what do we need to do to empower our young girls now so that they are not so challenged in the future, so that their abilities are going to be able to shine regardless of environment and regardless of any kind of socio instilled. I'm trying to come up with the word that I really want to use without any social pressure, I guess is what I'm trying to come up with. I just give kudos to this Young Women's Leadership School. I don't know much about them other than I read this article. I have to say that in our Girl Scout program, we really do take leadership as one of our core values that we really are strong to help girls embrace. So this is something kind of close to my heart. So I'm very anxious to talk to our guest today, to talk about the challenges that she has faced and the things that she's overcome.
Well, I agree, Rob. I think, leadership is so important today for young women, and I think it's getting easier. I think, we look at the stay-at-home mom generation, I think it was very hard for sons to see their prospective wives in leadership positions. But for some of us who have been known to dip into the kiddie pool while dating, I find that it's the younger guys, especially the guys whose moms have gone to college and they're educated professionals, and they might be, doctors or lawyers or nurses, or they went to work while raising their family. They have a whole lot easier mindset with the fact that a woman is successful, like a woman that they're interested in romantically. They don't seem to take it as hard as some of the guys who had the moms who were more the stay-at-home moms. I think, it's a perception that we've grown up culturally, in generationally, in how we view women.
I agree. And I think there's a softening of the edges now, which maybe 10 or 15 years ago you had the cougar woman who was just out there, or I think of that Diane Keaton movie,
Baby Boom?
Baby Boom.
I love that movie.
I do, too. She's got to be the cougar lady out there, but she couldn't do both. And I think we're getting there. We are starting to soften the edges that you can be a successful businesswoman but still cuddle up with your kids and be that mom that they need. So,
yeah, a multifaceted mom who, does her best intellectually and emotionally and parentally, too. I don't think they have to be. They can be, but I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive.
Right. We can wear many, many hats.
We can, just like we can have many pairs of shoes. So our guest today is really cool. She's written a book. She's written a couple books, actually, and she is one of the last women that you would expect to dance for joy. Her book is Simply Salsa, Dancing Without Fear at God's Fiesta, and she lost her eyesight at 31, and she suffered financial devastation, went through infidelity, and then her 19-year-old son was murdered, and the man responsible was acquitted. So I think we got a lot to learn. I know I do. I've got a lot to learn from our guest today.
Absolutely. I am so thrilled to meet this woman. I just am looking up to her, and she is so inspirational.
She is. Well, my name is Sandra Beck. I am the host of Motherhood Talk Radio. Christy Holly and Rick Swanson and Doris Rivas-Brecky all have the day off, and Robin Boyd from Military Mom Talk Radio is filling in today, so we're so happy to have her. When we come back from the break, we're going to welcome Janet Perez Eckles, and she is the author of Simply Salsa.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Hey moms, get ready for Living the Dream Mom with Nina Fry. Thursday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Living the Dream Mom is about the true realities of motherhood, the beauty and the rewards of watching your children grow.
All these moms have something in common. They put their kids first. It's not about the kids all the time and the diapers and the bottles and the breastfeeding. It's about showcasing the mother in motherhood, real moms in the real world. You get it? Now that's what the show is about. So every week, let's get together and we'll share these great stories with you guys. And I hope by the end of the show, you'll be saying, you know what? That is my life. Nina gets it. And I can't hardly wait to see what she brings me next week.
Don't miss the next Living the Dream Mom. It's real moms in the real world. Thursday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Living the Dream Mom with Nina Fry on TogiNet.com. Have you ever wondered why America is facing such a healthcare crisis? Then join us for Dr. Peter DeVette Live every weekday at 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Doctor, give me the news.
He'll answer your health care and medical questions and share with you his knowledge and opinions on topics ranging from holistic health care to spirituality and wellness. You'll find out about the roots of your health care challenges versus symptom management, the holistic approach, how the spirit, mind, and body connection is critical in both the development of illness and the solution to illness, how emotions are directly related to physical illness, and how to read your body like a book. Dr. DeVette will also go through your personal questions and how you can navigate through the illness maze. Supplements, medications, therapies, treatment options, surgeries, all kinds of things related to your health. Dr. Peter DeVette live every weekday at 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, Mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I am here today with Robin Boyd as Rick Swanson, Doris Rivas-Brecky, and Christy Holly have the day off. Oh,
I'm filling the shoes of I'm filling 3 shoes today.
You are. You're a very powerful woman. That's why we have you on the show. So we have, as our guest today, we have Janet Perez Eckles, and she is the author of Simply Salsa, Dancing Without Fear at God's Fiesta, and she has just an amazing story. Janet, are you with us?
Sure I am, Sandra.
Welcome to the show. You are from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Is that right?
No, actually, that's where my publisher is. I'm in Orlando, Florida.
You're down in Florida. Wow, we are spanning the country today.
Yes, this is sunny Florida here. A little hot still, believe it or not.
It's hot here, too. We got 90s in Southern California. How's it checking in on the upper East Coast, Rob?
We were low 80s, I want to say, upper 70s, low 80s. It's gorgeous weather right now. There's just a blush in the trees right now, not quite fall yet. So we've got a really gorgeous weather. Janet, I love the title of your book. I just think that it's so telling of all that must be in it.
Well, it has a little sassy title, right? Because that's how I wrote it, so that moms and women can really identify and say, wow, yeah, I know what she means. That's me. I wrote something I would like to read, so I wrote it with a little bit of passion, a little Latino flair, and hopefully with a powerful message to inspire those who read it. Yeah.
We like that. So you're an inspiration in yourself, Janet. Why don't you give our readers just a little bit of your background, and then we can talk more about your book.
There you go. Okay. Well, as you know, I'm an author, speaker, and writer. And when you ask that question, that's my usual answer. And recently, on Friday or Saturday, I spoke at this. I was one of the keynotes for an international conference, and one of the interpreters, Japanese interpreter, came up to me and she said, I know who you are. I translated your talk. You're the mother of adversity. And I thought, nobody is. I just laughed. I said, I don't know what. And I guess she read my story, because when I give talks, I weave my own story to teach them how to succeed and how to overcome obstacles. And that was the title she gave me. And I thought maybe it was because of her lack of English words. I don't know, who knows. So I guess I could be called.
I love it. The mother of adversity. That's perfect.
That is. I mean, there's the mother of adventure, and did we lose Janet? I think we did.
No, there she is. Yeah, I heard a little clip, too.
Okay. No, I'm still here. And, adversity, but, I think when you talk about moms, that word itself tells you power, conquering, doing, performing. That's what mothers do. And I guess I was able to conquer quite a bit of adversity. As I heard you read my little bio of what happened to me, I'm thinking, that sounds like a pitiful life. My goodness, who in the world's going to hear her talk? So I guess I did go through pretty dark episodes, you could say. But I was one of those blessed ones that have come out on the other side with triumph, with success, with joy and confidence, so I can reach out to others and inspire them. And that is such a gift. So go back to you answering your question. I guess what I am really is someone who has a passion, has dedicated my life to tell people, whatever you're going through, there is triumph. And it's even better than you think. And of course, they can say to me, oh, how can you say that? You're still blind. You still don't have your son back. He's gone. But, in those dark moments, I found the true meaning of what it really means to be content and to have joy. And for us moms, we think joy is going to be when our kids all behave or when they're out of the house with great education and wonderful profession and career. But really, to me, I think what we have done is redefine joy in our own terms. When I think of joy in the way that is really simply defined as joy comes when you simply conquer fear. That's the subtitle of the book. So I guess you could say I'm one of those people, too, who doesn't really live by fear, but by faith. So that's where I come from, Sandra.
Now, let me ask you, did you ever have, because I haven't been through nearly, what you've been through, but I have been through infidelity. I have been through an ugly divorce. I have been through, a foreclosure, a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And then just to wrap off, the end of it, my mother passed away from cancer. There was a while during that time that I just kept thinking, why me? Why is all this happening?
Yes.
When you're at the outer end of it, it's okay. But during the process of it, you just sit here and go, what the heck did I ever do to deserve this? How do you handle the why me part, which is totally feel sorry for yourself?
Yeah, you're so right. And then I even took it as one step further, thinking, what did I do to be punished this way, And by the way, the episode of infidelity in our marriage, it was an amazing thing that God restored our marriage. We fell in love all over again, and we've been married almost 35 years. So that was a real pretty happily ending there. But at the time that I was going through, as you probably did, you're thinking, what else can I go through? Because it happened right after I lost my sight. I was devastated. I had just, lost it in a matter of, 18 months. It started going little by little until it closed in completely. And, of course, my husband wasn't prepared to be married to a blind woman. So he came home one day telling me he found somebody else. So my world really turned dark. And that is the moment, as you say, Sandra, you think, why me? Why is this happening? Not to anybody else but me. And right now I know the answer. Then I didn't. And what I had to do was reprogram my thinking. I had to do that out of desperation. What I did is think, okay, I can't see, but I can still talk, walk, hear. I can still love my little guys. I have to hang on to what I still have. And, of course, having the rejection from my husband also just hurt terribly. But there was at one time, as you know, my book has a Christian theme, and I just turned to God and said, you're going to have to be my husband and my father. And so that's exactly what turned it all around to me. I didn't have to look for a man to fill my heart, to bring me joy, wholeness, and fulfillment. And when I chose to think that way, I brought back a little bit of peace to my heart. Dignity came back. I wasn't going to beg him to stay and say, look at these kids. How could you leave them? Or look at me blind. How could you do this when I need you the most? I didn't. I said, I didn't force you to marry me. I won't force you to stay with me either. God is going to be the one who sustains the boys and me. And I think he didn't expect that, and he came home, with forgiveness. We chose to start over again, and the rest is history. So basically what I had to do, Sandra, is change my way of thinking.
Wow. That was actually going to be my question to you, Janet, has faith always been the pillar in your life, or did you turn more to faith when you were facing such adversity?
Great question. Absolutely. When I could see, I don't know if you saw my picture, but I was the kind of, nothing stopped me. Get out of my way. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I know the house I want. Everything. I was a go-getter. And but there was something empty in my life, something that I was still longing for. Well, lo and behold, here I lose my sight unexpectedly. My world comes crushing down. I'm in total darkness. And that, I think, is what sparked a true faith in God. Before I had a religion, and I think that just increased it so much more, because that's when I found the true peace and where joy really comes from. So I would say that I had to lose my physical eyes to be able to see with the eyes of my heart. And let me tell you, the scenery is a lot more beautiful.
Oh, gosh. So let me ask you, this is going to sound really crass because that's kind of the questions that I ask.
No, you go, girl. I like that.
Did you find that was only, like, you got to that point only when you just gave up? Like, for me, I'd had it. I didn't believe I could take one more crushing blow, and I'm just like, all right, it's up to you, God. I give up. It wasn't a graceful surrender on my part.
It wasn't for me either. It was an angry surrender. I remember 2 of my friends took me literally. One was holding one arm, the other one the other. I was sobbing. They took me into church, and I was just drowning in sorrow and self-pity and anger of my prayers that God hadn't answered. So I had all these emotions just ricocheting all over my heart. And yes, I came to the point where I couldn't do anything on my own anymore. And I said, okay, God, if your promises are true, if you say that you will sustain, that you will hold people up like you say you do, I'm going to believe that. For the first time, I'm going to just let it go, and I'm going to trust you. I don't know how you're going to do it. He wasn't going to restore my sight, I didn't think, or bring my husband back. So I thought, I didn't know how he was going to do it, but he did. It was amazing. What I did is I got a hold of a cassette tape, Bible on cassette. Remember those days of cassette tape? I was much younger then. So I listened to that day in and day out. And that's what drew me a lot of, like I said, wisdom to say, you know what, I don't have to react emotionally to this. This isn't the end of the world. And there I was in the kitchen trying to fumble with the pots and pans, and I burned my fingers, and I said, I don't know how I can do this. Those kids are hungry, and where's the milk? And I couldn't find the cereal box. It was the flour, and it was a mess. But then I thought, I just read in your word, you said that you would be a lamp to my feet and a light for my path. I need a lamp and a light right now. Show me where those things are. And what I did is I developed all kinds of tricks to do things. I put rubber bands in the boxes of cereal. I would reach for the wooden spoon so that I could touch the pot. That way I knew where it was. I learned how to clean the kitchen floor barefoot so I wouldn't miss the spot. So little by little, I was able to do everything for my little guys. And, of course, I had to teach them and say, honey, give me the milk.
You know what, Jen, I hate to cut you off. We have to go to commercial break.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Sandra Beck. I'm the host of Motherhood Talk Radio, along with Robin Boyd today, as Christy Holly, Rick Swanson, and Doris Rivas-Brecky have the day off. I invite you guys to check us out on motherhoodtalkradio.com and on our host station, TogiNet. We will be back with Janet Perez Eckles and her book, Simply Salsa, after the break.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Why do I feel so lousy? Why aren't my medications working? Why can't my doctor figure me out? These are just a few of the questions Dr. Kevin Connors will be exploring in Dr. Kevin Connors Live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. The author of the book, Help My Body Is Killing Me, solving the connections of autoimmune disease to thyroid problems, fibromyalgia, depression, ADD, ADHD, and more. He'll dig into these and many other conditions to dissect the mechanisms of your problems, giving God the glory and looking for answers to make you look and feel better, to make you feel whole again. For more on him, his book, and the show, check out upperroomwellness.com. Never be satisfied with a diagnosis. There is always a reason behind it. And if you can alter the mechanisms that led you down your current path, we can change your future. It's Dr. Kevin Connors, live, Monday nights at 9, 10 Central, here on TogiNet.com.
Y'all wave your hands. Look who's on. It's Dakota Man Keith, and he's number one. Now, you might think Juan's youth was sad, right? Because he had a death, dear mommy and dad. Right. But that ain't the case. It wasn't his fate. No, the Juan's never struggled to communicate. Y'all wave your hands. Look who's on. It's Dakota Man Keith, and he's number one.
It's That Keith Wan Show on TogiNet.com, Wednesday nights at 8, 7 Central. Every week, That Keith Wan Show will have guests that share their experiences, expertise, opinions, and personal lives with us to hopefully help us better understand others. The topics and guests will come from the American Sign Language community. For more on Keith Wan and the show, go to his website, KeithWan.com. Listen with an open mind and willingness to learn and help with the cultural bridge.
Number one, Keith's number one. Everybody clap because Dakota Man's on. Number one, Keith's number one. Everybody clap because Dakota Man's on.
Don't miss That Keith Wan Show, Wednesday nights at 8, 7 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hello, moms. This is Robin Boyd filling in today for Christy Holly, the birthday girl. We're wishing you a wonderful birthday, Christy. I'm here with Sandra Beck today, and we are chatting with Janet Perez Eckles for some inspiration to beat the band today. I'll tell you, she is the author of Simply Salsa, Dancing Without Fear at God's Fiesta. Boy, that's just such an awesome title, Janet. And I have to ask you, when did you decide that writing was going to be your forte? Did you do a lot of journaling as a younger person? Do you find that you enjoyed writing, or was this something for you to purge all of your inner feelings, and it just became something that was sellable?
That is a good question. Now that I think about it, no, I wasn't one of those, people who just read a lot and decided to journal and did all that. I think what happened is when I discovered this new technology where a software that reads me the screen, can wear a headset and anything I key into the keyboard I can hear. And it was such a wonderful tool that I thought, I'm going to write something. I'm going to write my story. So I did, and that was my first book. And that was back in 2004. And people just love my story. I mean, still selling. People all over the world. And I thought, what if I just start writing little pieces and submit it to magazines? Well, that was the beginning. So I knew that people just wanted to hear a way that they could, too, triumph over the tough times they faced. And so I think that's where it began. Of course, I did a lot of studying, a lot of workshops, writers' conferences, and I had to really hone my skills and my writing craft. So it was just, I think, the fact that I wrote my story is how it all began. But no, I didn't one day dream, someday I'm going to be an author. I guess. And it's so ironic, right? I lose my sight and I begin to write and become an author. Kind of has a sense of humor, I think.
It must have been a challenge, though, for you to develop the non-sight skills. I'm sure that technology has aided you greatly, but it's one thing when a child is without sight and has learned the tools to help them through. But you didn't have this until you were in your 30s, and so this must have been difficult to transition to.
It was an adjustment. Oh, yes. Of course, I had always trusted my eyesight to do anything, and now I had to just, use my hands, my hearing, my memory, everything else. And it was a big transition, and especially the obstacles that I would run across in my writing. I remember writing a novel, and I had to describe a hotel. Well, I don't remember. I can't just, like a normal sighted person, go and check out a hotel and say, okay, I'll use the description. So I just took my friend and had her describe everything to me, the colors, so I can put it in a novel. So I had to be very creative to overcome that adjustment. And, with writing, too, what you read in the book is the things that I remember, things that are vivid in my mind. But I think the book did so well, which I don't know if you know, it reached number 1 on Amazon.com. And I think it's because people are just hungry to find something. Where do I find purpose in the life that I'm going through with the tough times? Where's joy? Where's peace? And I think what I did is I focus more on the emotion, what really goes on in the heart, rather than the physical, surroundings. And I think that's why it's speaking to so many people right now. And that's a gift, I had to adjust, though.
Well, I think what's so beautiful, too, is you're turning something that is an adverse situation into the outcome of joy. Just as you were saying, some people have religion, but they don't necessarily have faith. Or just as you may have lost your sight, but you still have all of the other senses. And so often we can wallow in that misery and say, I've lost my sight, I don't have my sight. But yet, of course, we have the joy of hearing the voices and the music, and we touch the ones that we love. And for you to be able to take the challenge and to go beyond is remarkable. And Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes I don't agree with you so much that I'm remarkable, really, but the ability of the human person with the amount of faith to focus on the right thing, on God's word, I think we're all capable of doing that. I think it has to come to a decision to say, you know what, I'm miserable. And I need to change, and I'm going to change. And as I said in the earlier segment, I had to change my way of thinking. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't think, oh, poor me, I can't see my way to the bathroom. Instead, I think, oh, thank you. One more day of life, one more day I can inspire somebody, one more day of challenges that I'm going to see how God is going to resolve them, one more day that I can be productive in some way. So you see, that just changes my whole outlook, my whole attitude. I think if I didn't do that, I'd just be, on medication for, who knows, depression, anxiety forever, because I wouldn't be able to see the other side. So, yes, I had to make that decision. That was not a pretty place to be in, full of self-pity and envy and bitterness. So I'm not going to be there, and I'm not going to go there. And and anything that comes up in my life, like right now today I was planning, I'm going to Canada on Monday, and I'll be going for a TV interview. Now I'm going to be going by myself. Never been to Canada. I don't know who's picking me up. Never been in a hotel. I don't know those people. I could be filled with fear. What is this crazy woman traveling around? You can't see a thing. And I just got one of the producers wrote me and she said, will you have a guide dog with you? And I thought, a guide dog? I don't need a guide dog. I'd have to clean up after them. I imagine that. I mean, not that I'm really prissy, but no, how do you do that? I'm not going to have somebody else clean after. I said, no, white cane, fold that thing, put it in my bag, so I use a white cane. My point of sharing that story is because you can have fear, but you got to recognize it's fear of the unknown. All of us tend to be fearful. What if, my house is foreclosed, right, Sandra? What if, I'll never marry again? What if my kids... And you're fearing something that hasn't happened. And what it does is steals the joy for today. So I learned that little, insight, trick. Or maybe God is saying, do not worry about tomorrow. So I won't worry. And I made a mistake, too, in this trip. I booked a flight for the next day, and that means I'm going to be in Toronto a full day with nothing to do.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
you're going to have a ball. I love Toronto. I grew up like 45 minutes from there. It's great.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm going to Burlington somewhere. But anyway, so here's the thing. Us moms fear a lot, don't we? We worry, what are my kids going to do? I can't believe he's lying again. What is he going to turn out? Prison, And, as a mom who's gone through tragedy of the death of my son, I had to also learn how to overcome the deepest, most unthinkable heartache that a mom can suffer. And I don't know if you want to go into that now.
Let's check. How are we doing on time, Rob?
Checking now. 4 minutes. We've got.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah. Okay. Losing my sight was nothing compared to losing my son. He was just senselessly murdered. He was stabbed 23 times, and he was.
How old was he, Janet, when this happened?
He was 19.
Oh, my word.
Captain of the football team, he was a leader, handsome, witty. Everybody looked up to him. He was just, the coach is the amazing child. Not a child, of course, at 19. There was an altercation in the road. Both of them pulled into a 7-Eleven. They got out of the cars, and my son didn't know the other man was armed with a knife. And I tell you what, when the doctors at the emergency room came in and gave us those news, my whole world just came tumbling down. And I thought, this is so unfair. I've gone through enough in my life, I thought I had paid my dues of suffering,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, again, I had to recognize, God was still there. And I remember a verse that I had read over and over again that says, "Be still and know that I am God." And that's what resonated in my heart, saying,
wow,
I had gone through so much, but he hadn't changed. He was still going to be there for me, and he was. Not only that, but going even further for me to be able to inspire other moms who have also gone through that tragedy. What a gift. What a joy and an honor and privilege to be able to say to moms, you are going to make it. Yes, right now it doesn't seem like you will, but yes, the day will come that you will not stop missing your child, but you will be able to hear and hang on to those memories. Those are treasures. So to me, I just see that gift of 19 years to be something I need to value.
We have 2 minutes before our break, Janet. Do you have other children?
I do. I do. Joe's 2 older brothers. Mm-hmm. Yes, Joe was my baby.
And you have grandchildren, too.
I do. Oh, my goodness, I do, yes.
I'm waiting. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for that day.
Oh, honey, get ready. I mean, joy like you've never dreamed. Yes, yes.
My daughter was just married this past spring, so yes, I'm on the verge,
waiting. Yes.
It may take some time, and when the time is right, I know that it will happen. But yeah,
it will. It will give us another spectrum of happiness, I think, with those little ones. And
it's true, and I do think it is different being a grandparent, and I'm just looking forward, and I hope the time does come. And sometimes young people do make the choice not to, but if this is what's right for my family, I hope so. But I know that you must be such an inspiration to so many people, and I know that you have some speaking engagements that you do as well, Janet. So when we come back from the break, I do want to make sure that we talk about some of your speaking engagements. I want to make sure people know to find you at Janet Perez Eckles, and it's PerezEckles.com. You can certainly find lots about Janet there and a lot of the wonderful things that she's been doing. This is Robin Boyd in for Christy Hawley, and here with Sandra Beck on Motherhood Talk Radio. Find us on iTunes and find us at motherhoodtalkradio.com. We'll be back with Janet in a moment.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Have you been laid off, fired, downsized, right-sized, or re-engineered out of a job? Are you unemployed or anticipate that possibility? Then tune in for Successfully Unemployed, hosted by Alan Sherwood, MBA, president of Sherwood Consulting Service. Successfully Unemployed will provide you a hope-filled and comprehensive approach to the job search process from an author who's experienced it all. Alan and his guests will cover all dimensions of a job search: physical tasks, mental attitude, emotional health, even one's spiritual perspective. All must be integrated in order for a person to be successfully unemployed so they can then be successfully employed. This show is designed to help you move forward from job loss to finding or creating more fulfilling work. For more on Alan Sherwood, MBA, and the show, check out his website, successfullyunemployed.com. Then join us for Successfully Unemployed with Alan Sherwood, MBA. Thursday nights at 8, 7 Central here on TogiNet.com.
How to invest, where to invest, where to save, where to get the right insurance, what to do about taxes. Should I relocate my business or ever purchase a property? That's where Go to My Radio Show comes in. Join host Chris Holt Tuesday afternoons at 1 Pacific, 3 Central on GoToMyRadioShow.com. Choose the right financial professional and learn more about the products and services while learning the terminology and strategies used by these professionals. Go to My Radio Show is unbiased, and Chris Holt, your host, will ask the hard questions and take calls to help you connect with the right professional who can help you better handle your financial and business choices. Go to My Radio Show is not a financial services company and does not offer any financial advice, but we will help you make the right choice when it comes to planning your financial future, and most of all, choosing the right program and the right professional for you. Go to My Radio Show with Chris Holt Tuesday afternoons at 1 Pacific, 3 Central on GoToMyRadioshow.com.
Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I am here with Robin Boyd today. Christy Holly has the day off. We're wishing her a very happy birthday. Our guest today is Janet Perez Eckles, and she's the author of Simply Salsa, Dancing Without Fear at God's Fiesta. This is an Amazon.com #1 bestseller, so I would encourage you guys to check it out. And I want to tell you from a physical standpoint, because I have her book in my hot little hands. It's an easy read. It's about 130 pages. It's very uplifting. It's funny. It's interesting. It doesn't hit you over the head with the Bible, because sometimes, books do that to me, and then I don't understand. The one thing that she does do, which I love, because she uses my favorite phrase, claro que sí, which is a Spanish phrase, which is, oh, of course it is, or of course I will. But she puts a glossary in the back for the words that she uses in the book in Spanish. And what's interesting to me, Janet, when I read this, is when you go to the glossary, I look at the words that you chose, and like abrazo, which is hug, and abuela, which is grandmother, amiga, amigas, friends, ayudarlos, to help them, bueno. I mean, just the glossary alone makes you feel good. And I know isn't that a weird, that read the whole book, look at the cover. It's white and light and bright and funny and sassy, and there's so many things that I do like about it, but I just got a kick out of that, and I'm probably the only one who's ever commented on your glossary.
You are. That is so precious. Well, thank you so much. I'll have to blog about that. Guess what somebody liked about my book? That's right.
Who's the egghead on the show today?
Who did the artwork? Who did the artwork on Simply Salsa?
The publisher did. One of the graphic designers at the publishers.
It's darling. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It is. It's a very fresh. It's a very fresh book. Like, some of the books, we have on quite a few. We have quite a few faith-based authors on, Janet, and I got to be honest with you, there's a lot of them that this stuff goes right over my head, and I don't know, if they're talking about a passage, a city, a town, they're citing things in the Bible. I have no idea what's going on. Raised Catholic, I can do the Hail Mary, and but, it's an easy read, and I like that. And the other thing I liked about it, too, and then I'll stop waxing poetic about your book, is that it's put together in sound bites. For somebody like me who has 2 little kids, 5 and 8, single mom, run a company, 4 dogs, a lot of property to maintain, I can barely feed myself some days, much less keep up. You can pick up this book, read a little section of it, just a couple pages, get something out of it, go on your day, and then come back to it tomorrow or 2 weeks from now and still get something out of it. And that, to me, is really cool, because who has time to sit down and read a book cover to cover?
Right, now with our busy schedule. Well, thank you so much. Oh, that just warms my heart. Thank you. A woman said to me, I was just almost devastated when she said this to me. She said, usually I can read a book just in one sitting, usually, or two sittings, but I could not get through your book. And that is the worst thing an author could ever hear. And she said, let me tell you what, I only got to chapter 3. And I said, really? She said, you know why? She said, because every page I would go through, I had to stop and outline and underline and mark and put stars because that was talking to me. I wasn't just reading it. It was like those things that you show, the insights that you present, they're talking to me. And I said, oh, thank you, because I picked up myself off the floor then, because that's how much value she found in the insights that I present, which just delights me. And like you say, it's simple to read, kind of a little sassy, a little bit of humor, a little bit of boldness, I guess. But, that's how we talk. We got to get real. We can't just talk in abstracts. We got to really tell it like it is, So thank you for those comments. I so appreciate them.
Well, and when you look at, giving a book too, I like to give books as gifts a lot. And I really thought, for somebody who's faith-based and somebody who's going through any struggles, when you talk about the struggles you've gone through, you could give this to somebody who has health issues. You could give it to somebody who's gone through, or is struggling with infidelity in their marriage. You could use it for someone who's lost a child or lost a family member, and there's no endorsement. I just want to make this clear that Janet comes on our show of her own volition. We don't have any endorsement from her other than we liked her book. But it's an affordable book too. It's it's like $12 or $10. It's not going to break the bank, and it makes a really nice gift. So I just only have positive things to say about your book, and the fact that you wrote it and you can't see is just. I can see and I can't get things done.
Oh, that's funny. And what's almost even funny, not funny but stranger, is that I'm reading other authors' books right now, and I'm reviewing them. And so, people, who reviewed your book, a blind person, but, I can read them, and I have my screen reader in a really fast speed so I can read more. So I even have that advantage. So his writing is really a simple task, being blind even. So working on the next book. Maybe I'll do a series. So that one is Simply Salsa. Maybe the next one will be Simply Content and Simply Joyful. Who knows? Oh, that would be
Simply
beautiful.
Cantar. You got to keep going with the Spanish thing, like Simply Sing.
If they could have all these chicken soup versions, then you can have all these Simply versions.
There you go. That's right. Amen. Yeah. Well, I have about 22 stories in chicken soup in the different titles, so that's really a joy to be able to share my stories and with that readership, which is in the millions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Janet, because this one comes up a lot, and I see it on your question list here. How do you define a successful woman and a successful mother? How do you define success? Because obviously you have had a lot of it, but how do you define it?
And you learn to anticipate some challenges, which in my case, there are quite a few here and there. And success comes when you anticipate them in a way that you say, I know God is going to help me through this, whatever comes my way. And, that brings joy to every moment. And let me tell you why I say that. So many people, and people I know personally, have climbed the corporate ladder. They're VPs, CEOs, but you know what? They're still empty. In the world standards, they're very successful financially, but their heart's still empty. They're still longing for something. But if you would just take each day and say, yes, there are going to be setbacks, disappointments, and challenges, but I know that somehow I'm going to overcome them. Think of the joy that fills you every day. I don't think there's better success than that. With little ones, I remember with my 3 little guys, they had a blind mom, couldn't read their school notes, couldn't really drive them to their soccer practice and that. But I used every moment to teach them from my weakness, teach them something strong, something that they could use as they grow up. There are other ways to do things. And I don't think my boys could tell you now that they've ever seen me cry or say, oh, honey, it's because I can't see. And to this day, they say, my mom's not really blind. She does so much. And so to me, being successful is learning to take each moment and knowing that, yes, we're going to make it through. It may not be the best way. It may not be immediate. But, yes, we're going to triumph. We are going to conquer. That is what success means to me.
Wow. So you think really, because I think this, mindset is everything. The only time that I believe that we're ever going to be right is when we believe that we can't do something, because then we give up, we don't try, we know the outcome. But in every other scenario, if we don't try, we got a chance, and there's a chance for success. And, the other success thing that I'd like to share with our listeners today, that I was friends with a professional football player, a Miami Dolphin, who won a Super Bowl and a couple Super Bowls, and he wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the brightest. He's going to kill me if he ever hears the show. He wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the strongest, and he didn't even have the most hair. But one of the things he said to me one time when we were sitting there, he said, Stan, you want to make a success of yourself, successful people keep going. He's like, when most people quit, the people who are successful keep going. What do you think about those two statements, Janet?
Well, what I say, and I think I'm going to include that in my book, and I think one of the chapters I talk about that sometimes failure is necessary, because if you didn't fail or something, that means you're not trying. Okay, let's say I took a trip by myself and I ended up somewhere else. Hey, you know what? At least I did my best. I tried to travel and go to my speaking engagements on my own by myself. So failure is not bad. It's when you just sit in your complacent comfort zone and you're not taking the next step. To me, that's true failure. And that's true. You just get up and keep moving. You get up and keep moving, and that's where strength comes in. You build that stamina. You build on that, and I would say if anybody is trying to be successful and you haven't failed enough, maybe you're not trying enough. But yeah, I so agree with that, and I learned that when I first started to write and submit magazine articles, and I would get a rejection letter, or my novel that I first wrote, and a publisher would not, publish it. I mean, I could have just gave up and said, what am I doing anyway writing? I'm blind after all. Forget that. That wasn't for me. I didn't think that. I kept going time and time and time again until, I get the #1 book on Amazon. So, yes, keep trying.
Keep trying and fail forward. That's my motto. I always tell people if I'm ever going to write my autobiography, if anyone would ever care to read it, it would be failing forward. Because the thing is, the most fun is when you fail and then you succeed. Because it's like if you just succeed at things, when it's easy, they really don't have any value. But, man, you mess up enough and then you succeed, you feel like you accomplished something.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, you guys, our show has come to an end. Our guest
Did you want to
today,
mention a little bit about my speaking, did you say?
Oh, well, we got 30 seconds. You guys need to check her out at janetperezeckles.com. Our guest today, the author of Simply Salsa, Robin Boyd, filled in admirably today for our birthday girl, Christy Holly. If you guys want to check out Janet's book, Simply Salsa, Dancing Without Fear at God's Fiesta, check it out on Amazon. Next week, we have Emily Boyd Poirier coming on, and she's going to talk about Halloween makeup, and we're going to have a really good show because Christy loves when we do makeup, healthcare, and beauty shows. My name is Sandra Beck. I'm here with Robin Boyd. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, signing off until next week. Unless, Robin, you want to add something?
Nope. Thank you, Janet. You're amazing and a blessing. See you all next week.
Thank you for being a part of Motherhood Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly on TogiNet.com. Join us every Tuesday as we get